Hi, very good morning, Mark. Monday, March the 16th, going on 8:30 a.m. Eastern, US session now underway. Let's have a look how the markets are performing this morning. Definitely a bit of a turnaround from last week's picture. US dollar index, red candlestick, US dollar giving up some of those gains we saw after a very strong week last week and closing above that 100 level, unable to maintain at that level, a tough level to maintain, we know that. And sellers now giving up those gains. I've got resistance at 120 and I've got support at 99.65. We'll see whether that continues during the US session or if we're going to get a turnaround now that the US session is underway. But certainly a bit of a different picture with US dollar being sold off so far this morning. Let's have a look at the S&P. We're looking at the futures market, an hour till Wall Street opens up. And here you see a continuation or in the same vein as that turnaround. Strong US dollar last week, weak US dollar this morning, and equities sold off last week, but a little bit of demand this morning in the futures market. We're seeing a bounce up, support 6,698 and resistance at 6,751. We'll see whether that can continue. If there's demand for equities, notably the S&P, and buyers can recoup some of these losses and move higher during the once Wall Street does open up, or if we're going to get a turnaround, as we so often see, from strong to weak or weak to strong. In this case, strong to weak. Sellers step in at this resistance area or perhaps a bit higher and then look back down below the 6,700 level. But for now, a bounce up in the S&P before Wall Street does open up. Let's have a look at gold. Gold fighting its way back, trying to fight its way back. Very narrow range here. Support under that all-important 5,000 level, 4,967. That support was set during the Asian session last night. Fighting its way back now. I've got resistance at 5,036. Has been somewhat surprising to see gold not being able to rally or very little demand for gold with the geopolitical conflict well underway and gold's safe haven status. One would have expected to see gold rally. Hasn't happened yet. The US is the uh, asset of choice at this point, but a bit of a turnaround today. We're seeing the US dollar giving up gains. Perhaps this is the day that does continue where we do see gold fight its way back. Support 4,967. Like I said, resistance at 5,036. Buyers will want to maintain above that 5,000 level and look higher. Brent oil, we're trading very high, still over $100 a barrel, sitting at right now $103. I've got support at 101.76. I've got resistance at 106.42. More than, in my opinion, more so than the technical numbers and levels. I think it's what we see happening in reality on the ground in the region, and I expect the volatility to continue. The mere mention last week by Iran of oil possibly trading at $200 a barrel, I think was enough to really spook the markets. Buyers will continue to look higher and look for new highs and look to get back up to this almost $120 level that we saw last week. Sellers will want to, if sellers do step in, $100 is the pivotal level for now. I do expect the extreme volatility to continue. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin putting in a nice run. It's been going since last week. Small candlesticks, but green candlesticks, higher closes, higher highs, higher lows, continuing today and closed last week and maintained this week over 70,000 over the weekend. And today I've got resistance at 74.4. I think that's the level that buyers will test, perhaps be a springboard for something more, and demand will be ignited if we see prices above this 74, 75, maybe even look up to the 80, sorry about that, even look up to that 80,000 level, or if sellers step in again and look to bring prices back below the 70,000. But certainly looking bullish. We are seeing demand and the uptrend gaining steam going into the US session. Good trading, keep that discipline, and I'll see you at the end of day.